Well, hi everybody, it's another Conversations With, and I'm delighted once again to have Richard Morco with me. As we know, Richard is a writer and is from West Brookfield and is a contributor to the Sturbridge Times, which is a great little publication. It comes out and folks really enjoy it, and Richard has some great columns. And so here we sit, and we've just gone through another. The market is doing great, up to 22. I mean, it's wonderful. And I have Mike Carnabal that does a show with us, and like he said, breaking news isn't even affecting it. It just keeps rolling along. But anyway, here we sit with another interesting challenge ahead of us with a mess down in Charlottesville, Virginia, that's reared its ugly head, and we just have, we just keep, and we got the nut over in North Korea, rattling his saber.
He's not a nut.
He's not.
He's not a nut.
Okay.
Look at Gaddafi's gone.
Yeah.
Saddam Hussein's gone.
Yeah.
It's hard to say who backed down from whom. But supposedly he's not going to throw one at Guam.
No.
But he's rolling on because he knows he's got to have a nuke. Don't give up your nukes.
Right.
He's the sanest man going. We just don't know. We like to think we're sane. Well, Kim Jong-un, or whatever his name is, he knows what he has to do to survive. I don't think he's a nut.
Really?
But I have some breaking news from West Brookfield.
What's that?
Before we get started.
Oh.
Some very disturbing news. You didn't hear the breaking news about the three actually, but it was two in one place. Goats that were...
Oh yes, we had some goats that were done in.
I will be writing about that for the Sturbridge Times magazine. Right. I don't think we have any clue. Well, the police are tight-lipped.
Yeah.
But I wrote, I reached out, I'm going to be writing about it, I'm going to talk to the police, I hope. But I reached out to somebody who investigates that type of thing, and it is extremely disturbing.
Right.
She said that people who do this type of thing often go on to killing people.
Really?
Yes. She said the ritual way it was done, the way they were posed, they didn't just kill them, they posed them because they liked to get the reaction of the people, and there was reaction. So I'll be on top of this, I hope.
Oh wow.
And get.
Yeah, I saw that on TV in the morning, and it really was surprising.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, because this is the loveliest town in the world.
Oh yeah.
West Brookfield.
Yeah.
I had a chance to go off with the company I was controller of when they moved offices. And I would have done a lot better to do that.
Yeah.
But I just liked where I lived too much.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful town.
Oh.
But we've had disturbing things happen there.
Yeah. No, I lived in Ware for 30 years, and was on the board at the Mary Lane Hospital. This is back in the 70s and 80s, and West Brookfield was a great community. I mean, I was very friendly with Dick Salem when they opened the Salem Cross Inn in the 60s and 70s, and it was the place to go. And West Brookfield, the lake. They used to have a regatta every... Lex Carroll used to have a Chevrolet store there, and he ran the West Brookfield Yacht Club, and they had a big regatta every year at the lake, and it was a wonderful place.
In winters, if it freezes enough, they have a ice fishing derby. The Asparagus Festival, White Christmas in West Brookfield. We got this weekend we're having the Congo Church is having their flea market on the Common, but every now and again, like Molly Bish.
Yeah.
Everything nice, beautiful kid from Warren. I believe it was in West Brookfield that she was murdered.
Yeah.
And it was just so disturbing. And Holly Paranen in Sturbridge. Yeah. We like to think this is so idyllic, and yet these are things you don't forget. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it is. And then of course, then we have. We turn our thoughts to the White House.
Must we?
Why not?
Oh gosh!
Fake news. I mean, we might as well talk about fake news.
Well, this is what we're here for, so I guess we have to.
Yeah. No. I mean, we had a tragedy, and David Duke is thanking the president for the wonderful compliments, etc. So it's just Paul Ryan's running for cover, and then
Well, he always runs for
oh, I
cover.
know. And then poor John McCain is getting beat up by the president. He called him all kinds of names yesterday because he was the deciding vote against health care and.
These guys said for years, we got to get rid of it. And then when they have to really do something, I almost feel like I'm watching The Wizard of Oz. What do they got that I ain't got?
Yeah.
Courage.
Courage, yeah. Well, and now there's a big situation going on that the former Judge Ray Moore down in one of the southern Alabama, I guess it is, topped the ticket and beat Trump's guy and McClellan and what's his name's guy? What's his name?
McConnell?
McConnell. Yeah. McConnell's guy. So and now of course everybody's jumping up and down about that. So it is intriguing. We don't lack for headlines.
No.
I mean, if President Trump has done nothing else, he has certainly motivated the cable network stations
and he's their best friend. I mean, people are Rachel Maddow. She had her following.
Yeah.
Now she's got multitudes.
Oh yeah.
He did the loaves and the fishes for her.
Oh yeah.
He multiplied her
audience.
And
then Hanratty is Hanratty's going crazy, and he's Hannity, I guess it is Hannity, and he's taken over for Big Bad Billy, and as long as he can leave the ladies alone, he'll be fine at Fox.
That's but they say about Pence, he never goes anywhere without his wife.
Yeah.
Smart guy.
Yeah.
Smart guy.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, it's a minefield.
Oh yeah.
Down there.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's just. I often think and wonder what people like Orrin Hatch, and if Ted Kennedy was still alive, where would they be in all of this? And you don't hear much from poor Orrin. I think he's hiding. And it's unbelievable. And then Lizzie, our wonderful senator, senior senator, as the president calls her, Pocahontas. She's certainly in the headlines every day. She has a statement a day.
Oh yeah. Well, she's definitely running. She's definitely.
Spare
running.
me.
I'm telling you, you pick up the Sturbridge Times and read my column. I was really nice to her because she is the one thing she's got right is bringing back Glass-Steagall, and she's the only one who wants to do it.
Yeah.
And that's her unique proposition. Like Trump had I'm talking about the wall. That was his unique proposition. I think Liz will surprise you. I'm not saying I'd vote for her. I'm not saying I'd vote against her. But I think she's on to that.
Yeah. Oh well, it is. It's interesting, and the one I get a kick out of is Senator Markey. He has another statement a day, and I think some of them are misguided in the fact that where they're misguided is what's going on is they think they're taking advantage of Trump, and the minute he makes a Twitter, they come back and have a statement, criticizing it, and I think they think that plays well. It's boring.
Yeah.
And it's boorish.
Yeah.
Leave it alone. We don't need you running out there saying, "Oh, that was a terrible thing he said last night at 3 a.m. or whenever he sends them out."
Well, see, this is one thing they don't get about Trump. Do you have a Twitter account?
No.
I had one because the farm we have in West Brookfield and stuff, and I don't do it anymore because it's just a waste of time.
Yeah.
So Trump might have, I don't know, what does he have? 10 million, 20, whatever. It's still a minor part of the country.
Yeah.
And people, the great multitude wouldn't know he tweeted.
No, I know. You got the media.
The media. So he knows he's going to get, it's sort of like he's building up Rachel Maddow.
He is playing, look, he is he gets himself daily $5 million worth of marketing and advertising.
Yeah.
You couldn't afford to buy the time that he gets. You know, and versus, I'm looking back to President Roosevelt. All of those guys added together didn't get as much TV time as Donald Trump gets daily.
Yeah. And in the
Obama would go 4 days, you didn't hear anything about him.
The next presidential election, in the primary season, there's going to be about 50 Democrats all running together.
Oh, I know.
None of them will be known.
No.
And Trump will still take the oxygen out of the room
Yeah.
by tweeting, or if there's a next thing to tweeting, figuring
Well,
out
what's
something.
going to be interesting is the senatorial and House elections coming up in a year and a half.
And you are predicting.
I am predicting that there could be a major change in the House and Senate.
And I am predicting that the time from now to the election is about the space of 2 millenniums.
Politics can change. Look, I had the good fortune or the misfortune, depending on how you look at it, of being heavily involved in the Dukakis presidential campaign.
It did good for you. It did well for you.
I learned a lot.
Yeah.
And I know that I was sitting there one night, and I was going to be the new chairman of the Federal Communications Commission. And 2 days later, we were beat. And we were 22 points up coming out of the convention. And we made 3 tragic mistakes. The first was the governor, Dukakis, decided to take a week off and go down to the Cape and stay at his brother-in-law's or sister's place. Because he was exhausted, and he was. It was an I'm telling you, when you can't believe we started at 6 in the morning, and we'd do 8 cities, but we were on a plane 6 or 7 hours. You know, you're on a plane and you're jumping from place, and you start at 6 in the morning and end up at 11 at night, and you crash and you're up the next day and off you go again, and so it is exhausting. But the decision was made, let's do it then, because that's the Republican convention.
Right.
And what we ended up doing is giving George Bush, who was the candidate at the time, the senior Bush, a free week. And we didn't even get our name mentioned. And that was it. And the numbers reflected it in the poll. And then the foolishness in the tank didn't help. And then the Bernard Shaw thing with Dukakis, and what would you do if somebody raped your wife? And so we had 3, and so from being the president-elect of the United States one day, 2 days later, it was all over but the cheering. And it happens that, and to your point, I mean, every day is an eternity.
Yeah.
And people don't realize that when you're the candidate. Every day. It's only an 18-hour day. It's 6 in the morning till midnight. But it's 4 years. you know.
And that's the thing. I mean, today I went by a plant in Sturbridge
Yeah.
that I'd never had a sign, "We're hiring."
Yeah.
You see a lot of those signs now.
Yeah.
I don't see how he can keep this going. I don't even saying he's the person who caused it. But if there are still "We're hiring" signs
Oh.
in Sturbridge and Charlton in 2 years, I think the Republicans could do it.
They're everywhere.
Yeah.
You go down to the Rentham outlet center. Every store's got signs in the window. You go.
Well, this is a factory, though.
I know. I understand.
Yeah.
And it's a fiber optics factory where those jobs are high-paying
Yeah.
jobs, and they can't get the people. I know. Quinsigamond in the college that's got the branch in Southbridge, they've partnered with a lot of these companies, and they're running special programs to teach people, because the jobs are so high-paying that these kids can come out of a year course at Quinsigamond and have a guaranteed job.
Yeah.
You know, with the Incom and Carl Stores and Optum and OFS and these different fiber companies in the area are desperate for people.
Yeah.
You know, I talk to my good friends in the industry, and they're all saying we can't get good help, and it's skilled work we need.
If they're still hiring,
Dunkin' Donuts is hiring. You know, I mean, I went to the donut shop this morning for my coffee and crunchy, and there's a sign in there, "We're hiring."
Yeah.
And kids are in there applying.
Yeah.
You know, so jobs are plentiful.
Yes.
You know, and we talk with, as I told my friend Michael Carnaval, we do a program the last Thursday of the month, and he's an investment banker. And he does all the numbers, and he says, we're just cranking out jobs left and right.
Wow.
You know, I mean, and he said they're everywhere. You know, and so that's the good news.
And you mentioned before we came on how the stock market continues to go up. I mean, my nose is starting to bleed. This is getting too high.
Yeah.
How high can it go? But
Well, you know, the funny part is one of the things we talked about, Richard, with Michael was in 07 and 08, it went down to, we were at 6,500.
yeah.
Okay? And a lot of people jumped out. And those that stayed have just, I mean, and I was one. I mean, I called my guy and he said, Dick, what goes down goes up. Just hold on, just be patient, and if it's going to make you feel better, don't open your statement at the end of the month. He said, but because he said you'll have a heart attack, so don't do it. But just hold on. And I did. And I've got a dear friend of mine who didn't. And he's still, even Michael said, those people who jumped out of the market, took everything out, it's too late now to get back in because they've lost the last 4 years of just huge gains.
Yeah.
And I mean, I get it every month. I open my statement, and it's another 7,000 or 8,000 I'm up, or 10,000.
Yeah.
You know, and you just say around and round it goes, and where it'll stop, nobody knows. You know, I mean, Michael and I were talking, and I remember we were teasing each other at the last program. We're now at 22. We were talking, gee, will it ever get to 20? And he says, you know, he said, how many years ago did we say, will it ever get to 10? You know, and he says, I'm looking now, and I'm looking ahead. I wouldn't be stunned. He said, remember, October, November, and December is Santa Claus. He says, I'm not going to be stunned if by the end of the year we're at 23.
Mid-'80s, I'm working at a CPA firm down in Boston. And I talked with a guy, he tells me about the business he had been in, and he sold it. I said, you ever get back in that? And he said, yeah, the margin of that business weren't that great. And you know what? We're talking about a 3,000 Dow. 3,000 Dow.
Yeah. 3,000.
3,000 Dow. There's a guy who wrote a book, and they thought he was crazy. I thought he was. I never read the book. The 30,000 Dow.
Yeah.
He don't look crazy now, but you know
he could be 2 years
yeah,
away.
he could be. He could be kicking himself. I should have wrote the 60,000 Dow.
Well, but the thing that's amazing is and when we talk about it on the program, when you think about it, you put your money in a bank account, you get 0.5%.
Well, see, that's another thing driving the market.
You get 1.10%, and I got a thing the other day from some bank saying, just think we're going to get 1.5%. That costs, I lose money because inflation is 2%.
Yeah.
And then you got to pay tax on that.
And so, but that's part of the pushing the money into the market,
Yeah.
index funds and everything.
Yeah.
Who's going to put it in who's going to put savings in a bank account?
But there are people who do because they think it's safe. I told you my friend did, that's what he did. And he was all excited. And it's a funny story, but it's a frustrating story. He's in his 80s. And he had a 4% deal. And he got a letter from the bank that was over. And he was going down to 1%. Well, of course, he had taken his money out of the market. And he went down to the bank. And he says, I end up with a 24-year-old girl. And she looks at me. And she says, yeah, but don't worry because, you know, in another 8 to 10 years, it's going up. He says, honey, I'm 88 years old. I don't have another 8 to 10 years. Okay. And the girl just looked at him, you know. And he says, I'm not happy with this. And she says, well, it wasn't just you, it was everybody. He says,
that's comforting.
He says, I don't care about everybody.
Boy, she should go into psychology.
Oh, yeah, she was great. But at any event, but that's the dilemma, you know.
Yeah.
And like Mike Carnaval says, you know, he says, every time the market goes up, my phone doesn't ring. Nobody calls me and says, Michael, you were right, great job. He says, you know. But he says, the minute it goes down,
I
You know,
hear,
they're on the
yeah.
phone. You know, what do I do now? Nothing. It'll go back up tomorrow. You know, don't worry. You know, but no. I mean, it's just you sit back and you see what's going on in the White House, what's going on in the Congress, and it's not affecting anything. I mean, the market's just cranking along.
Well, you know, with this thing at Charlottesville, wherever it is,
Yeah, Virginia.
in Virginia, that's in a college town. Whatever you want to say about a college town, I mean,
Yeah.
I love Happy Valley.
Yeah.
I sell at the Amherst Farmers Market.
Yeah.
So I love these places.
Yeah.
But they ain't the real world.
Oh,
They're
no, no, no.
bubbles.
No,
you
no,
know.
no.
So it explodes. They're a little, makes the news, but it's not, you know, I mean,
No,
real
I mean, and
people,
now
real
they're talking
people are
about-
working at OFS, getting a
Yeah,
job, they're
yeah.
moving ahead.
And then they're
Looking up-
talking about that they're coming to Boston, and of course the mayor's saying we don't want you, don't come here, and you know, so that's going to be. And of course the TV stations are drooling; they're so excited. They'll have every camera they can get in the Boston Common, and can't wait for a fight. You know.
Well, we've got, you and I have to start the most outrageous organization we can. The thing that will make people really mad, and we get a crew of people, and we threaten to go to a town, and they say, okay, you're coming, and then if the TV channel doesn't pay us off, we tell them we won't come, and you won't get any news.
That's right. Good idea. Well, we got the cameras. Look, we got Drew, so
Drew,
we're
yeah.
all set. You know, we can go. Where do you want to go next? You know. No, but it's you know, it really is. You just. I mean, I get up in the morning and I put on the TV usually at 4:30 or 5 o'clock for the Channel 5 news. And before I flip the little switch, I goes, I wonder if the country's still here today. You know, I wonder if we're all still here. We lose anybody last night, you know, and you know, it's interesting. I have a couple of good friends who are police officers in Boston, and I'm going to be honest with you. And I was chatting with them recently, and every morning you put on the TV, and there's 3 or 4 people got shot in Dorchester, or Roxbury, or Mattapan, or whatever. And so I was talking to these friends, and he says, Dick, he says, do you know what we all do when there's 4 of them or 3 of them get shot? He says, the only thing that really troubles us are the little kids that stray bullets. He says, but when there's 3 of them gone and we know who they are, we go, oh, that's 3 we don't have to worry about. They took care of it for us. They got rid of them.
Yeah.
And he says, we look at it that way because that's 3 less troublemakers that are off the street. And they're doing it to themselves. And he says, these gangs, he says, let them go. You know, he said, they're doing them. He said, the thing that really is scary is the stray bullets that they hit some poor little kid walking down the street or riding his bike. You know, because once they start shooting, you know, they're boom, 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 boom. And he said, you know, we get the call and we find out who they are. We go, oh, good, 3 more. We just go back to the office and tear up the paper. You know?
Well, fortunately, or unfortunately, they're all bad aims.
Oh.
You know, they don't spend enough time on the range.
No, they don't.
Training.
No,
So
they get a gun and they just boom.
Yeah, they could be a little more dangerous, or they
Yeah.
could be a little
well,
more
you know,
safe.
I've even had a discussion with a police officer because you hear about these police shootings that they kill people, and I'm saying, you know, those guys know how to shoot. They're trained. You would think that they could hit somebody in the leg and put them down, and that would be the end of it. And instead of killing them, I mean, they don't have to kill them. They want to put them down. They can hit them in the leg or get them in the shoulder. I mean, they're that good. And one police officer said to me, Dick, you're right. You are right. Now let me tell you the problem I have with that. If he's got a gun and I put him down, I get him in the leg, that doesn't mean he can't get me. And he ain't going to shoot for my leg.
Yep.
And he says, he's got a gun. I have no choice. I really don't. And if he's got a fake gun, I'm sorry about that. You shouldn't have flashed it at me. You know. And he said, because he said, you're on, to you, you're right. We could just put him down and instead of killing him. But he said, if he's got a gun and he's aiming it at you, you don't have a choice because you have one chance.
Exactly.
Or you're going to be gone.
Exactly.
If he shoots back, he's got you.
Yep.
You know, and he says, people need to remember that. And he said, when you know, you hear police brutality, you know, he says, sometimes you just don't have a chance, you know.
That's true. That's true. And
You know.
There are, you know, we had that, what was it, Dallas and Baton Rouge, the policemen who were shot.
Yeah. Well, they got walked over to the car and the guy
Yeah.
waiting for him.
Yeah.
You know.
The policewoman in New York
Yeah.
who was shot.
Yeah.
So it's as Gibbon and Sullivan said, a policeman's lot is not a happy one.
No. No. And that's the big. I mean, these fellows that I've talked to, they said, Dick, there are times you're between a rock and a hard place. He said, look, there were times I hate to get out of the cruiser. You're walking over to that car and you say, what am I going to get? You know.
Yep.
Because you don't know when you're walking up. You know, and he says it's scary, you know, and he said, but it's the job you have,
Yeah.
and that's the way it is, you know. There's the risk, you know, and he said he says, you know, it's not fun, you know. He says, you know, you used to be able to pull somebody over and have a chat with them, and a lot of times you'd let them go if they were a nice guy and they really didn't do anything terrible, but you have a little chat with them about slowing down or taking it easy. You can't do that anymore. You know, he says, you just don't know.
Yeah.
You know, so it is, and we're living in a scare. I mean, I think back to when I was a kid growing up, you know, and it was just a different world. It was a different time. I mean, I think I've told you the story about, we had a curfew at 9 o'clock in Malden when we were kids. And if you were under 18, home at 9 o'clock. And the fire station horn went off. And if you weren't home, they'd take you home. They didn't even ask you. In the car, let's go. You know, and Tommy Heath was the Malden Square cop. And he'd walk the square at about 9:15. And he knew every kid by name. And he'd say, Morco, get going. Vaughn, you want to ride home or you want to walk home? Get going, out of here. It's 9:15. You got to be home by 9, scram, or else I'll drive you home. And boy, the last thing you wanted was him to take you home, because he'd take you right up to the door and say, hi, Mr. Vaughn, here he is, you know. And boy, your father would do you in, I'll tell you, you know. But it was different then. I mean, and if a cop did that today, and says, hey, get going or I'm taking you home, they'd have them about charges.
Oh, yeah.
You know, not my kid, you know. I mean, and then my next door neighbor was Captain Buckley. Now, Captain Buckley was the captain on the desk from 3 to 11. And there was a real desk with the 2 blue lights, and he sat behind it. And there was an officer on charge every shift. And Captain Buckley was 3 to 11, you know, I think Tuesday through Saturday. And the last place you wanted to be taken was in front of Captain Buckley. Because my biggest problem was he was my father's best friend.
That's a problem. That's
and
a
that
real
wasn't
problem.
really
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
You know? But you know, and they'd do it. They'd take it. Want to go see the captain? Oh no, then get out of here. Get going home. You know. And that's how they. But you respected them. You know, and you loved them really because they were good guys.
Well, they were part of your town too.
Yeah, yeah. You know, and it was bizarre. But Westbrook feels a great place to live.
I love it. I have never regretted. I feel fortunate to have lucked out. I tell you the story about how we got the land. We were looking, well, what we do, you know. Yeah. Inflation was still raging at the time. Yeah. He said we saw a thing, firewood forever, buy land.
Yeah.
And we went out and they said, okay, here's it looks like 100 acres for 10 cents an acre, but then you get there and it's a cliff. Well, do you have anything else? Pay a little more. And I got 8 acres.
Yeah.
I'm so lucky that we got that, because I feel like I'm in my own country most of the time. I can't see my neighbors.
That's good, see?
And they're fortunate too.
Yeah, that's right, see? So it works both ways.
Yeah.
You know,
I can't see the road.
It's like the little place we have up by the lake. It's just great. I come home, mind my own business, big backyard, up to the next street. Nobody bothers me. I planted my trees on each side. I'm all set, you know. Well, Richard, we've come to an end of another program, and it went by fast. But you know what? It was a great program.
It was a great program.
And we're entertaining these folks, and that's important.
That's it.
And so I'm delighted. And thanks for watching once again, folks. And it's another Conversations With. I'm Dick Bond and my good friend Richard Morco. So there you have it. Thanks for watching.
Thank you.